Yeah, between either the circuits or winner winner chicken dinner format, I'll do Smash. I'll
Yeah.
try Smash out. They're good, but I'm gonna be honest. In no way do I think that they are the best team in the world.
No.
And it is what it is. Like, I mean, they're not. I don't even. Sonics didn't even make it, and I still put Sonics above them, obviously.
Wally has posted that he is parting ways, which sounds like a positive way of him getting the boot.
Yeah, I guess so.
Is Extreme staying with you guys, or what's going on?
Extreme's never actually been signed with us. He's just kind of,
Supporting at events.
yeah, he's just a good friend of the team, and he goes to events to help, kind of in that assistant coaching type role, which is, great to have him around. As far as going forward, we don't know exactly the route we're going to take. We're exploring some potentials as we stand, but I guess we'll figure that out in the week or so.
Welcome everybody to episode 21 of the Hot Drop with no one else but Purdykurty. We had an awesome session, yap session, talking about pretty much everything you could think of. His last few years, the recent PGC, the results, his concerns coming into the next year, the formats, gold partner teams, all these roster moves. Tons and tons of stuff. Super interesting conversation. Yeah, can't wait to see what you guys think. There's a lot of talk about roster moves in the middle of this episode, so I just should say this was recorded on the 5th of January. There might be some more news when this comes out. Almost every region is going through some major changes right now. China and Korea are going especially crazy, but America as well. So if that's something that interests you, let me know in the comments, and I'll make a video on it. And yeah, enjoy the episode. Welcome everybody to the first Hot Drop episode of this year. It's been a little bit of a break, bit of a Christmas break, winter break, whatever you want to call it. But I have second in the world with me right now. Sounds good when you say it that way, right? Sounds pretty good, Purdy.
Nah, it doesn't.
You don't think it's? I think that's the one way I feel like it sounds good. It's because like everything else is just like you're the first loser. But
that's how I still hear it when you say it.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. Yeah, new hairstyle. What's going on there?
I lost a fantasy football bet, unfortunately. So this is the life that I'll be living for a while.
Losing PGC straight into losing football fantasy.
Yeah, I stay catch nails, I guess.
Rough. Literally first thing when I saw you, I thought it was Sparking because he had that kind of hair for a while. No, he also at least like part of it or something. I'm not actually sure, but
yeah, I think it definitely suited him a little bit more for sure. He can rock it.
Yeah, he can rock it more. It is what it is.
I don't have that in me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We'll see. Finish serial killer or old Draco Malfoy. It's a vibe.
Sure is.
Okay. Obvious topic I want to talk about, of course, PGC. You guys got second. It was it was giga close all the way till the end. You obviously, when a tournament's this close, you remember like a million things that went wrong and a million things that could have won you the tournament. Someone on Twitter, I saw someone on Twitter asking you like, would young Purdy have won PGC or something? You know. There's so many there's probably a lot of small moments that you like regret or have like think about sometimes, but overall you did you feel like you guys did what you could and it just wasn't meant to be, or how's the sort of vibe coming out second there?
I think everybody, no matter who you are, has those like regrets of like, oh, we had this one wipe here, or if we just ratted a little bit here or more patient here. Like you'll always have those no matter what. I definitely feel like, especially on the last day, we played our fucking asses off. I mean, outside of the second to last game, which was not a lot of options if you look back at it, we made really good decisions overall. I think that last game itself was fucking insane for us to get into even the point to contend to win. So I don't look back at it like, we could have had this, we could have had that. I'm just kind of proud enough at this point to be able to contend. So
yeah, it's also when you mentioned that second to last game, it feels like one of those games that your play isn't bad. It's just like you don't know that nobody's shooting at Falcons, right? You don't know that Liquid Compound isn't doing anything, and the Dip also isn't doing anything, so they can just run out. Like, it's one of those things in PUBG where that play might work 7 out of 10 games or something, but you did it in the game where it didn't work, and then it's just like shambles. While on the other hand, I feel like there was an Expendables team where everything they did just worked out, and every important phase shift they got and every important spot they got uncontested and stuff, like things were really just going their way completely. So it was really hard to contend with that, I feel like. No.
Yeah, I mean that's always a tough one. I mean, it's better to be lucky than good sometimes. I'm not saying in any capacity that they're not good. They are a solid team.
Yeah,
but
they're just both.
I'm gonna be honest.
Right? Yeah,
they're both. They're good, but I'm gonna be honest. In no way do I think that they're the best team in the world.
No,
and it is what it is. Like, you know, I mean, they're not. I don't even. Soniqs didn't even make it, and I still put Soniqs above them, obviously. Or Twisted Minds, or Navi, or whoever might be competing. Cerberus, like those teams, I all have. As some of the best teams in the world. So, you know, they played really well. They took advantage of their luck for sure.
Yeah, but to be fair, I think there was multiple teams this tournament that got quite lucky. I think KDF on the first day, maybe even on the second. My memory is a bit blurry about the second day, but generally caught a lot of zones on that first day. And could have put themselves in the position to win the tournament, but kind of choked 1 or 2 end games, kind of had a few issues here and there. I think T1 as well played amazing PUBG, and then you could kind of feel that the pressure got to them. Like they weren't their own selves on the last day because this was like their first time having a chance of winning a world championship. So there was a few teams that got the necessary circles and couldn't make it. And then it was just you guys in the mix who I feel like didn't get fed at all, or maybe get fed in 1 out of 18 games or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a game here or there that we caught some zones without a doubt. But in kind of regards to what you touched on for those teams, I think a lot of those teams come into it. Maybe not KDF, because I think they're a high ceiling team. Like when you look at them, you expect them to contend. But like T1 or TE, when those teams are playing well, it's like you look at them with the mentality of they have nothing to lose almost. Like there's no expectations behind them. So once they hit that point, going to like day 2 or 3, and there's expectations now, that's when they usually start to stumble. Obviously, it didn't happen for like TE, but it's definitely very common for at least like my team. If there's an unknown or underdog team at the top, it's like they're probably gonna have some troubles here just because they're not used to the pressures.
Yeah, especially also going into the last day as first is a whole different thing than going in as 5th or something, right? Like, I'm actually going to look it up right now where TE was, because they were 6th, I think. Yeah, coming into the last day as 6th place, 40 points behind first, right? Yes, they can still realistically play for 2nd place most of the times, and that would be sick, and that would be way better than 6th. But you look at the kind of result that is, and you look at the prize pool and all that stuff, the difference is not that big. But being in first as a team on their like basically almost your first like global, they played PGS 5 and 6, but they did terribly there. T1. Like, it's such a different situation. It's just a different pressure. So yeah, I wasn't surprised at all that T1 faltered. I was pretty surprised that Expendables won the tournament. But then I went and did like a 4 or 5 hour TWIS review of them, and I was like, they're a good team. They win a lot of fights. They've had 1 or 2 games where they did some really good rotates, and they had like 8 games where they just got giga fed, and it's just like,
yeah, I haven't actually looked back at the last day. I mean, obviously you see the zones in between games when you're looking at quick stuff, but no, I haven't tortured myself and seen how fed teams may or may have not gotten.
Yeah, I was really excited because I was like, these guys look cracked, but I didn't have them on my radar at all. Like, I don't know why they won PGC. And then I went and looked at the games, and I was like, actually, like most of the hard circles, they got like 3 points or so, and they just got fed a lot and played those games really well. Like we said, right? They're a good team and they got fed, but I was almost like a bit, like disillusionized or something, because I thought there was more behind it. But yeah, I think they popped off at the right time, and that's just what you need to do. And they made a lot of good decisions, especially like also surviving in that last game, right? Making sure that nobody else can win and stuff. But yeah, it's gonna be really interesting next year because the real big dogs didn't really show up this PGC final, and then a lot of the underdogs really showed up.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest one obviously is Twisted, right? Going into the finals, they showed a lot of frustrations during the circuit. Obviously, like a lot of that was caught on like comms or the action cams. They're all slamming desks and throwing little tantrums, but very very weird to see them not in the top 5 contention.
Especially with Example being an absolute Terminator, right?
That is crazy to be at the top fragger and to not even be top 5 is absolutely wild.
He's clear MVP of the tournament if the MVP didn't have to be like on the winning team.
Which is an awful rule, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same thing for like man of the matches, like all that little shit. It shouldn't be winner based. It should be directly player based for sure.
It's like there should be a bonus for being on the winning team, maybe. Just because you know it aligns with the story and stuff, and it's really cool that like one Expendables player, but it wasn't close, and like holy fuck, he popped off. Like I looked at the stats a little bit, and it's like it doesn't make sense that he's top fragging when his team is 8th, right? And he got like he has like almost the same amount of kills as the rest of his team or something. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. I think that's something that outside of PUBG does well. Like for EWC, when they decided their MVP, Sparking got it, we were 4th.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know. Technically, I don't know if he should have got it based on stats or whatever it might have been.
That one was real close as well.
It was. I remember. I think maybe it was Correx or somebody had like really similar stats.
Yeah.
But for them to even have anybody outside of the winning team in that conversation is good. Absolutely how it should be.
Yeah. So I think Kovalevi, like the analyst of FaZe, talked to them about it, and they had like a formula. And I think what they did is they counted the group stage as well, where Sparking did better than Correxy, and that's kind of what got him the edge. But that one was really really close, and I'm fine with picking one of the two options when it's close. Like somebody's always going to complain because they like the other choice more or whatever. But yeah, like Cloris was not close to any of the top players of this event.
No, unfortunately not.
Ian was way better, Beamy was way better, and Example was way better.
Yeah.
That was pretty clear to me. But
I mean, I think it's MVP is most valuable player, obviously. Like if you take Example off of Twisted in that event, obviously they can still have the potential, but his performance carried them onto the left side of the leaderboard.
Yeah.
Like it's not even close.
Post-production call here. I had the wrong stats open. I think I had the overall weekly final stats open instead of the grand final stats. The grand final stats are even more convincing than what we were talking about here. Doesn't really change the course of the video, but I thought I'd clear that up. Yeah, I'm gonna look now actually because I'm pretty sure that he got an obscene percentage of the kills.
I think it was almost half.
I think it was almost half. It was very close. So he has 23. The rest of the team has 26.
Yeah,
that's not okay. Like
those are absurd numbers. If you take those numbers outside of Twisted Minds and you put that on any other team, like if you put that on Soniqs and Tig had 23, everybody would be like, "What the fuck is going on? Tig is carrying the fuck out of Soniqs on his back." Blah blah blah. Like it's kind of crazy. There's no narrative there at all.
Those are H-left numbers. That's the only team that does that consistently is Pero, and then PO on Genji was doing stuff like this.
Yeah, that's a great comparison.
But nobody else works like that because it doesn't work. You need more people.
Well, apparently they do too.
Yeah.
to get 8th for them isn't obviously their standard. So
yeah, that's crazy. Especially when a team like 4 AM is 9th. Like, yeah, it's rough. It's interesting. A lot of the sort of the giants that everybody expected just really struggling a bit. I don't want to get into the negative yap session about like a shit format or something, you know, but you mentioned
I'm always down.
Yeah. You mentioned like TWIS struggling with the format. But I feel like this was by far the worst PGC format. we've had?
Uh,
You can make the PGIS argument, right? Because that was sort of so heavy prize money slanted, so
I
such a
guess it
crazy curve.
depends on like to play out maybe, but for the mental, I still think PGC 2021 with Grand Survival was worse on the players mentally.
Okay.
But in terms of trying to not get griefed, this one is definitely worse.
I just think
there was a lot of controversy with the rust of the event. Like teams don't play till day 2 or day 3, and they're coming in. Everybody else is at practice. I think that's definitely an argument you can have.
I think there's so many different arguments against it, and everything for it is very questionable. Like the arguments for it is a best of 6 is very exciting, right? It's short. Stuff doesn't get decided beforehand. But half of the best of 6s were kind of pointless because like half the teams are already qualified and they're being chilling and they're just griefing other teams for fun. And then half of each best of 6 is pointless because somebody won the first game and now they're already qualified to the next stage. You know, it's so odd, and it's so that it changes the game so much.
Yeah, I mean,
it's also, you got that like really weird viewing experience where half the teams are kind of already playing for nothing, and then one team gets gifted in the last game and suddenly everything's fine and stuff. But you also, if you're you're a Cerberus fan or you're a Soniqs fan, you've seen like half of the days they didn't even play, right?
Yeah.
They don't come in the first 2 days. They suck in the finals. They go out in the next stage. You've seen them play 2 out of 6 days or something. Half the event's already over. And if somebody does the opposite, plays really well in the first final, so they skip the first 2 days, then they skip the first 2 days of the next stage, go into the next final. Now we've played 6 days and they're playing their second day. And if they do well again, then you're not seeing them again until the next final where they don't even have to show up because they're already qualified. And it's like, you're taking the good teams out of the tournament and you're making us watch the worst teams the most. It doesn't, for me, it just doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't even delve into the actual viewing experience for a casual fan of trying to figure out who plays when, what do they need, how do you watch them? Like, they need top 12, only top 12, okay, and then they need top 12 again, and then they need
and then what happens in that circuit final, and what are we doing next week, and what was last week for then, and
why does it reset, who goes where? It's a disastrous headache for sure. And then obviously the griefing was insane. Like you said, if a team qualifies on the first circuit like T1 did, they just spent the next 6 days trying to hunt 4 a.m. every time they saw them. Which is just, it's funny, don't get me wrong. Like I enjoy it as a casual player to be like, T1 is just gonna be fucking 4 a.m. Sounds good to me. But as a viewer and as an actual T1 fan, you're just like, this is troll. Like, what am I watching right now?
It's really odd. And it's also, half of the games devolve into just half of the teams camping somewhere on the edge because they're like, we get 4 points, we're good, right? We don't have to play good games. We don't have to play good PUBG. We're like, we got 18 points in the first 2 games. If we get 1 kill a game, we're fine. Like, it's so... Ugh.
That was the death of a lot of teams. So you could see it awful in the lobby. The first day that we played, we were rusty anyways, so it's an awful excuse, but the mentality is we just need to get 4 kills. We just need to get 4 kills, guys. And every single team in the lobby is thinking, other than like EF, every team is like, just sit on the edge to try and get 4 kills. Hope we do well. It was definitely awful to try and play through and navigate.
It is really weird PUBG. And what you just mentioned, I completely lost my mind explaining to people how the format works. Because I did watch parties and I got asked 100 times a day. Oh, top 8 qualifies? No, top 12 qualifies. Oh, Soniqs eliminated from the tournament? No, they're back next week. And it's like, that was literally my whole stream for 12 days in a row or some shit. And it was just, there was people in there who watched like 3 full days. And then the next week started and they were like, wait, like, we're doing the whole thing again? I don't understand shit. And it's just like, it was so rough.
Yeah, hopefully that one gets pushed in the bin for sure.
I just don't think we have to like reinvent the wheel every year. And I think if we reinvent the wheel, why don't we do it for PGS and not for the most important tournament of the year? That would be my approach. Try
The
these
whole thing,
formats somewhere
obviously,
else and see how they work, and then be like, okay, this PGS kind of sucked. We're not doing that again.
I think the biggest one, it should always be PNC for the most part. If you want to
Yeah.
test something new and interesting,
Yeah.
like Smash or whatever, like Smash at PNC would have been super
So
exciting
sick.
for fans.
So sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But who knows? Hopefully that format, that circuit was based on Smash. I don't even know how that makes sense still, to be honest, because you're still just getting to finals to play Smash.
Yeah.
So I don't like that excuse, but hopefully they don't even think about that in any capacity.
I would take Smash any day of the week over this circuit format.
Yeah,
don't
I
make
think
it 2 days, because they said 2-day Smash at first, right? That's like that's a best of 10 essentially, or something like that. That's for me, that's out of the conversation. That's out of the discussion. Just make it 3-day Smash. We had a 3-day Smash tournament in Europe. It was like a small tournament, but it was fun as fuck. And I think we ended the second day after 5 games, and then we played like 6 or 7 games on the third day. It was completely fine. It was hype. Everything was good. That Smash is, like it's not as competitive as Super. 100% isn't.
Yeah.
But I will take that blow if you just don't fucking make me suffer through these circuits again. Like, I hope they just never appear anywhere again.
Between either the circuits or winner chicken dinner format, I'll do Smash. I'll try Smash out.
Yeah. But then again, we had a best of 18 final where 3 teams could have won it in the last game, or 4 teams could have won it in the last game. If you're being generous, 5 teams could have won it in the last game. Like, 11-point difference between 5th and 1st. Like, do we need a more exciting format? I don't know. Like, I feel like we're okay.
I mean, especially the way that game ended up playing out, obviously, with us, T, and KDF all in the final circles.
Yeah.
They're not going to get much more exciting.
It's also, it could, like, you and KDF, literally, tiebreaker, and you have 1 more placement point, and they have 1 more kill point. Like, how much closer you want to get, right? Like, that's just crazy. Yeah, that was pretty nice. I think I thoroughly enjoyed the finals. I think the finals were really fun to watch and good PUBG. I really suffered through the circuit, but yeah.
Other than like you said, kind of the top teams like Cerberus and Soniqs not being there, couldn't ask for much more.
But I also wonder, like, I don't know. It's because it's not an excuse, right? Like, everybody's watched the Soniqs POVs and realized that stuff was severely going wrong in that team. That usually doesn't go wrong. Cerberus looked really, really bad overall. Now losing Hemas as well. You can't really blame the format for the teams not qualifying, but it's definitely not the most competitive format either. But
yeah, definitely. I don't think those teams would blame the format directly in any capacity.
No.
They would definitely hold some accountability there, but nobody's enjoying it at the same time.
Yeah. Somebody in my chat said, like, oh, I can't wait for the Soniqs tweets tomorrow, blaming the format. And I was like, have you watched any of the games? Like, they are not blaming the format. Like, none of these 4 dudes is in any way thinking that they played well. Like,
no. And when you're some of the best players in the world, you're not looking to blame the format or make excuses. They know the chances are in front of them, and they just squander them.
And they know that PUBG is a game where even if whatever map you're playing, whatever format you're playing, whatever lobby you're playing, like, shit can suck, but as long as you're better, it's fine. And everybody want, like, you and everyone at the top, you just want to be better no matter what the format is.
Yeah.
Speaking about Soniqs, they're kind of hanging in the air right now. There was some, I'll just say what I know and heard. There was basically when Shrimsy came home, he had like a stream where he said things kind of just depend on Tig now or something. And I was like, fuck does that mean? And then a few days later, there was the tweet of their CEO resigning. And I think it's pretty much sort of knowledge around the scene that Soniqs is no longer a thing. That's, I don't know, for me that's a shocker. For me they are like the cornerstone of NA PUBG, and they have the big brand and the big personalities. and they were arguably like top. They still probably are a top team in the world, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think they'll end up doing? Do you think they'll keep their GPT slot? I guess Gunnar said they're sticking together, right? So that much is clarified.
Yeah, they've stated publicly they're staying together. I think the main thing here isn't like the brand made them, right? Like they basically made the brand. Between them and the Rainbow Six team, they are Soniqs. Those two teams combined. So
yeah,
obviously when you see Rainbow Six announce that they were leaving, Tribizzle, Darren also saying he's stepping down from Soniqs, it's pretty evident that either the organization's falling apart or whatever it might be. They're fully like cutting funding, whatever that might be. Obviously, they'll be fine as players. I think the biggest question mark for everybody was, is Tig gonna leave the roster? Not so much as like Soniqs. I know fans are attached to the brand, but Soniqs doesn't really matter. It just Tig matters, right? Which is weird to say, but he holds all the power in terms of, are we going to get GPT? It depends if Tig is on our team. Like,
yeah,
it's unfortunate to say, but he is the face of Western PUBG in every capacity. So I think as long as they stay as a roster and they have Tig, as long as the organization that they signed to, whatever it might be, is reputable, then they'll get GPT for sure.
Interesting. Because like you said before we started recording, the deadline's in like 4 days.
Yeah, it's real quick.
It's gotta go fast. Yeah, it's really interesting. The rumor mill is going crazy. Team Liquid's coming back to PUBG.
Yeah.
That's why I'm putting on the Liquid hoodie already.
I didn't even notice it. I gotta see the logo on the mic there. There you go.
Gotta get some good standing before it happens, you know?
Yeah.
They're signing K-Mind as an analyst. Yeah, that's the Twitter community has cooked something up there.
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting because like, yeah, I don't know. For me, this is just such a household brand, but like you're saying, it's kind of Tig. And yeah, I used to annoy Shrimsy and just say like, you're my favorite Team Tiggleton player.
Yeah.
At after parties and shit. I'm sure he enjoyed that very much every time. But
yeah, I'm on the same boat. I do that. I just call him Tiggleton and friends whenever I talk about him. So.
It's a weird thing, but it is what it is.
It is funny because obviously without Tig, they can still be a very competitive roster. Like
for sure.
Recently, Roth and Rello announced that they're like separating from Falcons.
Oh.
In terms of they're gonna look for other opportunities. I guess that's breaking news, but it is it is in public discords.
Oh damn.
But like say for example, if Tig left, like if they slotted in one of those guys, they could easily compete. You know what I mean? Like that roster is capable in every capacity.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting.
Unlock you for a second.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
So Roth and Rello. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Falcons is a weird one for me. There's actually a real roster royale this year. I feel like there's tons and tons of moves going on. Diffix has also already announced he's leaving Navi.
Yeah.
So people are saying maybe Boostic, but I do think I should look this up before I say it. But I do think Boostic is not Ukrainian, and therefore I'm not sure if Navi would actually pick him up.
I don't know much about Boostic other than young prodigy type, you know?
That's literally it. He is the young prodigy. That's pretty much all there is to know. Post-production Kowo here. Boostic, the young talent we're talking about here, is actually Ukrainian, so that could be a likely pickup for Navi. There's also Spyro around. That could be an interesting pickup for them. We'll have to wait and see what they decide to do. Yeah, I'm not sure. Then, I mean, you guys obviously are going through some changes right now. Wally has posted that he is parting ways, which sounds like a positive way of him getting the boot.
Yeah, I guess so.
Is Extreme staying with you guys, or what's going on?
Extreme's never actually been signed with us. He's just kind of
supporting, at events.
Yeah, he's just a good friend of the team, and he goes to events to help kind of in that assistant coaching type role, which is, great to have him around. As far as going forward, we don't know exactly the route we're going to take. We're exploring some potentials as we stand, but I guess we'll figure that out in the week or so.
Yeah, fair. Then, I mean, you already talked. I'm trying to not go through much into the topics that you already talked about in your recent video. I'll link that one below. We have
we can retouch on anything you want. I'm all good for anything.
We have Cerberus falling apart, and I'm not sure how they come back from this. They were literally the Tycon He Must show, and then they're just the nothing show.
Yeah.
But they have to completely rebuild, I think, and it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, I don't know enough about that scene to say that they can build that roster back up, because obviously, like, all we know is the world's caliber talent, the international talent that they produce, and outside of Hamas and Tycon, like, they don't have any superstars that I'm aware of. Those guys are the ones, and now that they're gone, I don't know how they compete internationally.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I didn't think anybody on TE was that, and here we are. So
TE has been really weird for me because Cloris has always been really good. Really good. Tanvo has been really good, like, this year or this event. But then, like, Delvin just kind of came out of nowhere. I'm pretty sure he's the IGL of that squad. And then I don't even remember who that fourth player is. So, like,
DuckChoose.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh, I had the funniest interaction with DuckChoose. I mean, not really interaction, but he was basically in the coach lounge at PGS, and they subbed him out for 777.
Yeah.
And he was just talking to someone in English. I don't remember who he was talking to, and he was basically saying, I hope we do bad, because if we do bad with 777, then I'm playing PTC. Yeah. And then they absolutely sucked. And DuckChoose was just sitting next to me with, like, the biggest smile on his face.
Yeah.
And now he's a PGC winner. Like,
that is crazy.
That is crazy.
I don't know how teams can go from, like, shambolic type rosters like that to where you don't even know who you're playing in internationals, like, to literally lifting a trophy is absolutely insane. Some of the best teams of all time that I can think back to has always had some sort of internal issues, whether they're arguing with each other or they hate each other or just some internal conflict. Somehow those make some of the best teams, and it makes no sense.
It's also super interesting because a lot of the times rosters make changes and the guys getting kicked are guys with really good stats. Like, Cerberus kicked Tycon, and he was like, everybody was like, everybody was like, why is he leaving? Why would he do that? And it's like, he literally got kicked. And now Navi is kicking Diffix. Like, half of my chat is saying Saucet must be getting kicked after this event. Like, he's just not killing anything. But that's just what you see from the outside, and you have no idea who's the rough personality on the inside. Like, like Falcons, same thing, right? I think they had a lot of issues, but I would have never thought that they would change. Like, I would have never thought that Rello and Roth would leave together, because it feels like they're so polar opposites, for example. But clearly,
they do seem like polar opposite players. Like, Rello seems really like laid back, quiet, kind of passive, and then Roth is, let's fucking go. I don't think he's as loud in game, but out of game and to get hype, he still gets up there for sure.
Bro, like, the Falcons comms were content. Like, they.
Oh, I didn't get to see it actually.
I'll get you the link. You might still find the YouTube VOD. It's.
Spend a couple hours watching that later.
It's because also they manage to get 5th in a day and still look ridiculous half of the games, because they drive each other over, and then Flood shoots Roth in the back of the head, and Snake is ADR farm in a different team while they're team fighting. Whatever the fuck is going on. Like, they're so, like, chaotic and crazy. But they still produced results a lot of the time. Yeah. So, like, I couldn't really fault them, but watching them was fucking... Sometimes it was comical.
That's what I mean. Some of those teams, that just seems like chaos, but somehow they're winning. Like, Falcons, for a while, especially regionally, was the best team in the Americas.
Yeah,
like,
clearly, easily.
And they easily have their conflicts. They're chaotic. They're all over the place, but the results are there. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. And then there's, like, Falcons who, like, I'm watching their comms, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And they get second in the circuit finals, and they got, like, second in the other circuit finals. And then... What did they get in the first ones? I mean, okay, they get 15th in the first circle final, so like, that's just them, I guess. But I don't know. It's so crazy how little idea you have about a team as well from the outside. I realize that every time I get to listen to comms. I realize that every time I speak to some of the players and stuff. You just have your idea of what's going on, and you actually have no fucking clue what's really happening inside a team.
Yeah, I definitely miss it being a lot more English speaking teams,
Mm-hmm.
just so I could understand and look at comms. Like, because a lot of the times they stream comms now, it's for Chinese teams. Like
Every
on
time there
streams.
is a China team in the lobby, they do get comms. It's literally
Yeah,
hard guaranteed.
and I would like to just get in to actually see how a lot of these teams operate in terms of personalities and how they clash. Like, if I could go back in time to like NPL or whatever it would be, or any of those leagues, and just actually see all the different teams and their comms and how they operate, it would be beautiful. Like
Yeah.
if there was an Apex type situation where you had everybody's like command center type vibe, that would have been a dream for a viewer.
I think it's literally what we need. I think it's literally what would do the most for PUBG Esports. It's not circuit finals. It's not the Smash format. It's not TPP. It's people listening to their teams and watching their teams. Like I said before, if you're a Soniqs fan, half of the days they weren't even playing. And then when they were playing, half of the time you couldn't watch them because we're like the main feed can only watch so many teams at once, and the POV streams are always Chinese teams.
Yeah,
It's just not that good to be a fan of a team. Like, it's good. It's okay to be a PUBG fan and watch PUBG. That's enjoyable. Being a TSM fan and watching PUBG is rough.
do you think that's like budget based? Do you think they don't want to shell out for that type of like command center type thing?
I think so. But I'm not actually sure because it's not that big of a budget thing. They're already doing 6 POV streams, and they're actually kind of observing them. Like, there is people clicking through the players sometimes and watching over stuff. Expanding that to 16 is not that hard. And it's not like I'm saying, do this for every event. Do this for PAS 5 finals. I'm not saying that. But PGC, fucking do it. Like, it's 16 PCs, and you can have like max 4 people controlling it, and you can take 1 or 2 people off the main observer team, if you want. So like you have 2 additional people, you have like 5 additional PCs, whatever, like 10 additional PCs even. That's not that big of a deal. Like, that's not a mega investment at all. So I'm not really sure what the problem is. I don't know. They also they do it, but then they have this weird contract with Chinese teams where they have to have the Chinese teams in all the time, which means 4 Chinese teams, 1 APAC team, and 1 Russian team. And I'm like, okay, GG, yeah. And I end up cheering against the Chinese teams every single day because I want to see English comms. And I'm like, yes, New Happy out again, I don't hate New Happy, but if there's 4 Chinese teams in the lobby, I'm not going to see any comms,
Do you think that could be a product of a lot of the superstars from China, like Ming or Ace Left or Godp, these guys coming in and saying how they're losing money going to events? So at a bare minimum, they want their streams to be recorded and to go out on their own socials?
So, kind of, but not really. Because we have things like Nations Cup, where they just randomly make team streams and don't tell any of the players about it, and don't post on social media about it. And then the Chinese guys end up saying super racist shit on stream, and the VOD has to be deleted because they don't know they're being streamed, right? Like what's going on there? Like, what is fair. Like, literally everybody that was on comms the first day had some sort of fuck up because they just didn't know.
I think we were on comms as well.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. It's really strange. It's really hard to say. I just think I think it's the future, and for me, there's nothing more enjoyable than watching a POV stream with comms. But yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely the Chinese thing is about viewership and stuff. Like, China is just a massive region. China and Asia are just massive in general. I looked at the earnings report from Krafton, and it's like, so if I remember correctly, Korea is a bigger market than Americas and Europe combined. And then China is almost 10 times of Korea. or I think it's Asia. It's not China. So it's China and APAC.
Yeah. Well,
so
APAC seems to be huge lately. I think
APAC is huge. China is huge. Korea is big. EMEA is small, and Americas is tiny. That's sort of my understanding.
Basically non-existent.
Yeah. So I get it. I get the focus, but it's like, just even if you made it 8 POV streams, then at least we would have like 1 or 2 English streams every day, I feel like. But when there's 6 Chinese teams in the tournament, because you invited 4 of them, and you had 2 qualifying spots, and it has to be every Chinese team in comms every day, you're just going to end up with very, very few English comms. And it's usually max 1 per day.
Yeah, I mean, and as a player, I can tell you, not everybody loves it either. Like when you're there for every single circuit day and all the finals, and like they're like, all right, you guys are playing well enough now. Now we'll do your comms. It's like, all right, we'll take our comms off because at this point, fuck you type of thing. Like we don't want to be included just because you finally feel like we're worthy of it.
Yeah. And then you get one day and you do terrible on that day, and then you're off for the rest of the tournament. Yeah, it's also like they start like it's China every time, then it's global partners, and once they've gone through every single global partner, they'll start including teams that did well. And then if you're lucky, like Eternal Fire gets comms for one day or something. And then you got comms one day, I think, out of the whole PGC, maybe?
I think it was like our first or second day, and it was not good. I think it was our first day playing in the circuit.
Yeah.
And it was shambles. That was probably the worst our team ever was.
Yeah, and it was like 4-point games throughout the whole day or something like that. Like there was no fun game in there. Yeah.
Yeah. No. We had like no scrims leading up to PGC, to be honest. It was not a good time to rock up and be like, it's our first comp games in a month, boys. Let's see what we got.
Yeah. Gonna be interesting to see how that's gonna be next year. I hope the schedule is a little bit more stretched out next year, but I don't hold my breath. I know Nations Cup has been moved up a bit, so that's good, I guess.
That's very weird how that's gonna work though, in terms of how you actually get the players for Nations Cup, because I think it's one event, right? It's just a singular event.
It's gonna be the first like PGS, like the first regional and the PGSs, and that's it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So you get one regional qualifier to determine if you go to Nations Cup. That's pretty insane to base it off of if it's that.
Yeah. So Avenger had this take where he said Nations Cup needs to be in January or February. And I think that's a brilliant and simple take. You just take the whole performance of the last year, whoever did best in the last year goes to Nations Cup. Nations Cup is in the off season where nothing's happening anyways, right?
Yeah.
Make it mid-February, and then early March, the main season starts or whatever. And you have a beautiful opener to the year. You can put in the map that you want to play that year. You can put it in Nations Cup, right? Like you said, or the format you want to play that year.
Yep. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it'll never happen.
And you'll also have like 2 weeks off in the summer or something. And instead of just going like EWC, Nations Cup, PGS 5, 6, PGC.
Yeah, having it in the middle of the year is such a clusterfuck between players that are constantly traveling, and the other side of that coin is, if your teammates go to Nations Cup, you're supposed to still be practicing because they're playing the game. And then vice versa. All the teams that are broken up because of Nations Cup, now their scrims are directly affected in the middle of the year to where they get worse practice.
Yeah.
And it's just keep
and they have to
the
practice
teams.
For the regional series that starts a week after Nations Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
But they can't because 2 of their teammates are in Nations Cup or something. Like it's a bit rough for sure. And it's also what you're saying is like, if it's if it's like June or whatever it's not supposed to be, then you're only taking 1 tournament from that year, but you're also not taking a tournament from last year. You're kind of just cutting off half of the performance of a year to decide who goes to Nations Cup. So you're just making the whole criteria so much less meaningful. And so I don't want to say RNG, but kind of like doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah.
No, not entirely.
Not entirely. Good way to say it. I feel like somebody also said this on your brutally honest thing, but you guys have had you and your team. I feel like you're kind of the center block of TSM, I guess, together with ALO as well.
Yeah.
you had a really rough period from like late 2022 to early 2024, I think, right? Like you barely made PGC that year. You got like dead last in PGC. Not a great time. And then you had a rough 2023. Now you had an amazing 2024, to be honest. Like the most consistent team together with TWIS, I guess. TWIS higher peaks, but lower lows, you could say.
Yeah.
Were you like ever like in doubt, ever like, holy fuck, this shit just isn't working anymore? Did you have moments like that? Or were you just always like, we're going to figure this shit out?
I definitely always felt like there was ways to figure it out. I don't think I was ever close to like giving up in terms of the team or other players around me, other than one or two here and there, like Vegas or whatever it might have been. But outside of that, no, I think I was always, there are ways to figure this out, and we definitely can compete still. So it's just going about how do we do that.
That's good, because it doesn't sound like a lot, but in esports years, a year and a half is a long time. Like
it felt like a long time.
Yeah, and like sitting at home watching Instagram posts of people flying to fucking Thailand, whatever, it fucking hurts, right? Like,
yes, it does. Absolutely, especially when you truly believe that you're like the team that you have around you or the players you have around you are better players than other teams. And it's nothing against like certain people, but like if we're sitting at home and we think we're one of the best teams in the world and we're watching like SSG rock up, like fuck, or whoever it might be, like Legacy goes instead of us, and we're just like, bro, what is going on? Like, what are we this dog shit that
where are we going wrong?
Compete?
Yeah.
So it definitely leads to some frustrations for sure.
It's real pain. For me, it's always also been more like, like you're saying, are we actually like, what are we doing? Like, I don't think this team is good at all. How the fuck are we worse? Like, what are we doing? Like, where are we going wrong? That's kind of sort of always been the thought process for me.
And some people might think that's like egotistical, but literally every single team has those same thoughts. Is this team here isn't as good as us? What's going on?
Yeah.
Like these guys are all like no matter who you are, it doesn't matter if you're Ascend, if you're TSM, or if you're a nobody team in North America. At some point or another, you've been like, yo, Soniqs are dog shit. Like, how are they winning this game? Like, Falcons are dog shit. Or FaZe is fucking awful. How did FaZe just call over us? Like, it doesn't matter. That you always have those conversations.
Yeah. And it's not, for me, it's also always been more of a, I just think it's very easy to see the mistakes in PUBG or see what you think are mistakes. Because there is so many, right? You're making so many mistakes, like almost every game, that it always feels like everybody's kind of dog shit. And it's very easy to be like, what the fuck are these guys doing? Like, how are they not better than this? And it's not like ego. I'm not saying I'm better, more like, why aren't we better, right? So it's not like, we're just getting unlucky and the game just hates us, whatever. It's not like the delusional. It's just like, why aren't we better than this?
There's both sides of that coin for sure. But
I asked that question on your brutally honest thing, and you didn't answer me. So you think this PGC was so close? Why? Is everybody good? Is everybody bad? Is the game RNG? Why was it so close? Because it is 18 games. Like, there is still a lot of RNG in 18 games. But to be that close, like to be like, what was it, a 10-point difference from first to fifth? Like, that is giga close.
Yeah, I think the best way to answer that question is yes. So literally all of it.
Yeah.
The game can be RNG. A lot of the teams are that bad. A lot of the teams are that good. Like, like you said, KDF got hella fed in some of the earlier stages. They played those games really well on top of it, right? So they played those really, really good games. And then on the backside of that, the last day they were bad. They just were bad. So it's both.
Yeah.
Is it RNG? They got a lot of circles, so yeah, it's RNG. Yes, they were good, and then yes, they were bad. And then the same thing for all the other teams. I mean, Twisted was bad for their standards. T was good and lucky. So I mean, it's just the answer is yes, yes, and yes.
And you guys were better, but not lucky then.
Both. We've had bad moments. We had a lot of good moments, and we had some luck. But you know, it's all scaled different.
Yeah, it's all a mix.
Yeah. Could we have been luckier? Sure.
Yeah.
Could we have been better? No doubt.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I feel like it's a really PUBG feeling when you look back at an event and you're like, oh, we were missing 2 points. And you think, you alone, only from your POV, you think about 7 moments where you could have gotten a point. If you're an IGL, probably even more, right? If you're just
way more if you're an IGL.
If you're a player, if you're a player, you probably remember 3 flushes you could have gotten. Or
if I would have just killed this guy, it would have been a wipe. We would have.
If I just went for the fucking knocked guy instead of trying to knock a second guy, and then nobody would have stolen my kill, right? And then
exactly,
I would be a fucking world champion right now. Like, it's so crazy.
No, I definitely think it's rougher on an IGL's perspective of, fuck, if we didn't rotate into this, we could have just played for 2 points here, blah, blah, blah. But
yeah. It's so rough. PUBG is like a beautiful game, but also such a hard game, such a complicated game.
PUBG is a fickle bitch, without a doubt.
Yeah. Okay. 2025. GPT's in shambles. TPP? Question mark. You scared a little bit? You scared of the direction that we're going?
Yeah, definitely. So we'll start with the GPTs, right? GPTs just seems like, I know PUBG will never admit it because they're too egotistical in terms of how they talk to the community, but I think GPTs have been an ultimate failure as like an actual program. The actual support for the orgs, from what I'm aware of, is so dog shit. The skins they put out, pretty dog shit. They limit the guns that teams can choose. They could have much better systems. They could have progressive skins for esports orgs that
sure.
Tribizzle actually talked to me about a potential idea that he had, which I don't know how comfortable he is with it being public, but it'll be out there anyways because I have a big mouth apparently. But he said you could do progressive esports skins that scaled based on how the team performed. Like, that is an insanely awesome idea to implement for a global partner team who's constantly going to be at every event. Would have been awesome to see in the game.
Yeah.
And they just don't do anything close to that. They're like, here's your fucking FAMAS.
Yeah, I mean, FAMAS you gotta be happy about, bro.
Yeah, FAMAS like, is a good.
Here's your M16. Yeah. Oh, you like the pump action? There you go. That's for me. That's such an odd thing because it's such a slap in the face. It's like, your esports teams, and we're gonna give you skins, and the conditions, like you said, are pretty terrible. Like, there's been rumors like, oh, you got the first 200,000 you make aren't yours, and then everything after that you get a cut or whatever, which is like, stuff like that in place is criminal. Like, it's terrible. I think it's borderline, like not. It's not scammy, but it kind of is because the supporters think they're supporting the team, right? And then the team might get 0% of that. Whatever. Moving on. Like, they put out their own skins for good guns. They know what good guns are. Like, look at what guns they're making progressive skins for. Yeah. They are well aware of what sells and what doesn't sell. And then they give the esports orgs the skins that don't sell. Like,
yeah. So I think their train of thought, I don't know about like the whole, we need to make this much money and then this is what you get after. I'm not sure about all those numbers, but I think in terms of them being greedy is all it comes down to, right? So the train of thought for them as a company is, we can make these awesome skins for these guns that are always used and keep 100% of it.
Yeah.
Or we can make these skins that are always used that will compete with those sales, and then we have to lose 25% of those skin sales every time.
Has to be it. So, there's no other explanation.
Yeah. It's just a greedy business model to where they truly don't want the esports side of things to, I don't know about succeed, because obviously they want it to succeed, but they don't want it to excel.
Yeah. And it's also, but it's the only explanation, right? It's the only one that makes sense. But it's also like, aren't there more people that would buy a skin to support a team, right? If it's a good skin, people are going to buy it anyways. People who don't even give a shit about esports, they're going to buy it anyways. And then there's a portion of people added on top of that will buy it to support that team. And there's a smaller portion that will buy it to support the esports or to get pick and votes and whatever. So yes, you're taking a 25% cut, but you're also increasing the whole thing. So your cut's not just 25%. Your cut might literally not even be negative if you're actually selling this to more people. But then, sure, maybe you put a little bit more effort into other skins or whatever, but you don't have to completely cannibalize. Like, you don't have to be afraid of these skins completely cannibalizing your sales, because your margin is absolutely insane on these skins anyways. Like, a designer makes them for a few hundred or a few $1,000 and they make you millions, right? So like, I don't know, the whole like, oh yes, they're taking a bigger cut has never really made sense to me. But like you said, it might just be a balance sheet kind of thing. It's just like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if they think it's something like that, maybe they should expand their business model into outside of gun skins more so, in terms of like, weapon charms or weapon stickers similar to like CS, something that doesn't directly compete, that you can slap on any gun you want.
Yeah.
Something super basic, but would still be very supportive to the actual infrastructure of the esport.
I mean, there's so many things. I think we have to be happy that this year they actually made people wear the PGC skins for PGC. That's like already one thing that you should always be doing every single event.
The meme always used to be the technology's just not there
yet. Bro. The one thing also that was a mind-blowing for me from Valorant was the first Valorant champion skin was like a Vandal, like the AK version of Valorant. And it was really cool. It had a cool animation. It looked cool. Everything was awesome. And if you were top fragger on your team, it started glowing. Like, we have that technology in PUBG. We have fucking progressive skins that glow all over the place. Make a fucking esports org that starts fucking glowing when you're top fragger on your team. People will buy the fuck out of that, right?
Yeah,
people would go mental on that shit.
Yeah, I think the general theme here is there's a ton of good ideas that could be floating around.
Yeah.
And that they just don't seem to be receptive of any of them.
No.
Which is unfortunate, but
yeah,
we're literally talking to a wall
in
terms of feedback. They don't hear cool ideas. They just hear bottom line of their net loss. So
yeah, it's rough. Yeah, man. Every PUBG app just becomes so like, what if we could do this? It's just a shame, because PUBG is so awesome and there's so much to be improved and so much to be done. But it's also really easy to say that from the outside, right? Like, it's we don't know half of what's going on in that company, and I think a big portion is just the esports department being separate from the main PUBG developing side, and they just have to take what they can get. And if the HQ says they can have an MP5 or an M16 or a mutant, that's what the esports teams get. And it's not much the esports people can do about, and they're the only people that are listening to us, right? So I'm really afraid of the TPP thing. It's such a weird thing as well, because it comes with the announcement of like a tournament circuit that looks like it might be done in game, which would be fucking sick, right?
Yeah, that would be an awesome implementation for sure.
And it's like multiple league, like it scrims into tournament, into real tournament or whatever. It's literally like the perfect path from ranked to competitive. It's fucking awesome. But then it's TPP, and you're like, okay. So we're trying to bridge the gap, but also not really. It's more the gap between fucking public and esports that we're trying to bridge, which is sad. I don't know. It's hard to say what's going to come this year.
Yeah, I have no idea this year. Obviously, I mean, I have my stance on TPP as a perspective in a game mode, and I think, the competitive integrity that it will take away from is unfortunate. And I think it's a step in the wrong direction. But obviously, the implementations that you're talking about are absolutely insane, and would have been great to have earlier in the scene. I mean, we've had small iterations of that in certain capacities with like Faceit and stuff before, but nothing
even
straight from PUBG.
Yeah, even Faceit is never gonna reach anyone that's just playing PUBG and not thinking about it. Like, they have to know that Faceit is a thing, right? It's completely out of the game. Make an account, load, like, queue up with people there, find opponents there. It's completely out of the circuit. Like 95% of people are never gonna go there. In game is so powerful.
Yeah, it's like what Super People did,
Yeah.
where you just launch it up, you invite your friend, pick you up, you find yourself in a lobby competing for money.
So good.
That's all it is.
So good.
But so good, but TPP, and fortunately very late in the life cycle of where we're at. But
yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's a step forward and a step back, kind of at the same time.
Yeah,
I had this same kind of sort of revelation when I was casting quite a bit of PUBG Mobile like last year and the year before, and they do TPP and it sucks. And PUBG Mobile gunplay kind of sucks as well. Like it's a lot of just running around hip firing a DBS and SMGs.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So like those are the main two drawbacks, but they don't need Panzerfausts and E-pickups and like EMPs and sandstorms, you know? They just play PUBG and it's successful as shit. And they play Erangel, Miramar, and then play one map of Sanhok a day, which is rough, but it's one map a day. Like they're not, you know, they're not changing maps every year. They're not changing tournament formats every year. They're not like trying to fix the game with weird gadgets from public games. They're just playing PUBG and it fucking works. So
yeah,
the whole, it feels like every year PUBG grasps at a few straws and then none of them really work. And then next year they just pick a few more things. But yeah, who knows? Maybe TPP is the one that works. Maybe.
Do you think that that could be potentially because with mobile games, like you understand the market that you're kind of able to reach in general in terms of like it's more of an Asian, Southeast Asian, maybe like South American market, and then in terms of like PC games and other like console games, you're trying to hit that Western market more, and so they're just trying to keep mixing things up to maybe get involved more with the Western market in terms of PUBG PC.
It's a really good question. I think they've always had a massive problem ever since they had FPP and TPP in the game, and they never fixed that problem of mega separation, right? Because PUBG Mobile is also at a place where it's way bigger than PUBG PC. So you don't have the problem of queues dying or regions dying and stuff. Like, they've been constantly reducing queues and reducing the trying to reduce the separation in player base. But they created so much of it in the first place when they said solos, duos, squads, FPP, TPP. So that's already 6 queues. Yeah. And then you have ranked in FPP and TPP. So you're at 8 queues. And then they tried to do ranked solos as well. So that was 10 queues. And then, we have a featured map now. That's fucking 13 queues or whatever. And like
these 4 maps individually.
Yeah.
So do you think they're trying to bridge that? Like so they created an insane divide, and now they're trying to.
And now they have a problem where esports is better in first person, but more people play the game in third person. So they think we have to make a bridge, right? That's what I'm thinking, and that's not a bad thought, right? Like, we're FPP people, we're esports people. We hate TPP. We know it's shit. But what if more people enjoy watching the shit esports than people enjoy watching the good esports? You know, like what if it is like that? And
so I've had this conversation a little bit, right? So obviously we have it a certain way. Take like the competitive integrity or our preferences out of it. As a viewer standpoint, do you think us playing in third person actually increases interactions and base viewership in any capacity?
It's hard to say. Because
but it's not a definite yes.
The problem is you have more people playing TPP.
Right.
But are those people the people that would want to watch esports? That's the question you have to ask. Let's say you have 5 times the people watching playing TPP, but only a tenth of that popular, like the amount of people that are interested in ranked and are interested in competitive is 10 times smaller than the average FPP player, right? Then it's not worth it at all. So that's why I think they're just trying to test the waters right now. And they're just seeing how many people are going to sign up for this stuff and how great is the reception of this TPP competitive. Do people stick to it? Do people initially jump on? All those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
And if the reception is good, they'll probably go forward with it. Yeah. The problem is, like, put yourself in your shoes. If there's a TPP tournament with prize money on the line, you're playing that shit, right? You have to. It's your job.
Hey, listen, they're not going to be stupid in the way they approach it, for sure. They're not going to say, we're going to do FPP and TPP still, and they're going to be equal value. In no capacity will that happen. They're going to say, here's this FPP tournament, and you get this much, or this TPP tournament.
Yeah.
There's a couple of milli over here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, players are going to go to the money. That's just human nature. It is what it is. But nobody's going to be happy.
Even if it is equal wallet value, you're playing both, right? So
yeah, if I can, I'll play both.
And people that want to watch TSM are going to watch both. And then maybe 5 or 10% of those people say, this fucking sucks, and they leave. But like, you're keeping a lot of the viewership regardless, because it's PUBG and they want to watch PUBG.
Yeah, it'll retain. I'm just more so worried about, like, I think if you play TPP now and you're aware of esports, not us switching to playing TPP isn't going to make you overly excited to start watching all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I could be completely wrong, but I just don't see the bridge that, other than maybe they're getting more signups, more people try to play some, like, you know, the qualifiers in specific regions, whatever it might be. The actual viewership interaction, I don't think there's like a basis to actually have growth there, just on a perspective switch.
I think you have a really good point, and I think the problem is nobody knows, right? They don't know. We don't know. They don't know if there is a huge untapped market of TPP players that would watch TPP esports but won't watch FPP esports. It seems like a stretch, right? It seems like that's probably not what's going to happen or what's happening. But we don't really know either. I just think, in general, the TPP crowd is the casual crowd. They want to log on. They want to have some fun. They want to get a kill because they're sitting behind a tree and they see the guy running through the open and they can kill him before he shoots back. And they don't mind like that a guy is proning on top of a roof and kills them for free 2 minutes after, right? Because otherwise they wouldn't be playing TPP. If they wanted a fair competitive game, they wouldn't be playing TPP. So they're happy with being casual. They're happy with being uncompetitive. So the chances that they're super excited about esports all of a sudden when it becomes TPP, doesn't seem like a thing.
Yeah, I guess time will tell.
There's no way of knowing. I'm just scared, man. Like, when I remember when they said they made this big announcement, they said we're aligning ranked with esports, and I said, or they are we're aligning ranked with esports. I was like, holy shit, yes. Like, the worst thing that could happen is they take the current ranked and copy paste it into esports. And by that time, ranked was like a slightly more casual, very slightly more casual version of esports. And then they went, to do that, we're adding another map and we're adding e-pickups, Panzerfaust, fucking mortars, storms, everything, all at the same time. And I was like, okay, I guess what I thought was the worst that could happen was wrong. And then a few months later, they also put new maps into ranked that they didn't put into esports, and they did all this kind of weird shit that disaligned them again. So now I'm just scared that they'll find some way that I didn't expect that is gonna suck. But
they'll find something.
I think this is just the January syndrome where everybody's a little scared about the next year. But it will go once the format's announced and the schedule and everything, the what is it called, roadmap and stuff.
Yeah.
It should be fine.
I think the main thing for PUBG, because people have been saying this every year for the last 6 years, is PUBG is dying next year.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's this time of the year where they say it. It's like,
yeah, of course. This is the panic button.
Yeah.
You can only take it 1 year at a time, and from what we know right now, all of the international events that we're going to be competing in that are on the roadmap that we know of are FPP. So you can only take it, literally one step at a time, and don't full panic. That's all.
To be fair, PGC was a 2-day Smash final until 2 weeks before the tournament, it was a 2-day super final, and then a week before the tournament, it was a 3-day super final. So
yeah,
you look at your roadmap, and I'm counting days until it gets changed the first time. I don't think we've had a yearly roadmap that wasn't changed yet. At the last 2 years, they've always put one out and changed it a few months later.
Yeah.
But I think, like I said before, I think they're just testing the waters. They're trying to figure out how many people are signing up for tournaments and stuff. And in all fairness, right, you're going to make tournaments in game. You have a choice to make them FPP or TPP. Your player base might be double in TPP. Like, make them TPP. I get it. Like, I see your reasons. Like, I have other reasons why I don't like it, but I see what you're doing and I respect it. So they'll see what happens. They'll check how many people sign up, how many people play, how many people continue playing after the first few iterations.
Yeah. I think the good thing there is it's still a bridge to the esport in general, to where those players that may not be interested in esports now see the queue, try it out, and then maybe that garners some more interest just overall.
Yeah.
So I mean, that is a positive for sure.
Yeah. I don't remember if it was you that I was talking to like a few years ago. Might have been someone else. Somebody that's basically said like he was in the gym with a TSM jersey, and some guy said, "Oh, you're on like what's going on? Like TSM, I love TSM."
Yeah,
was it you?
I don't think it was a TSM jersey at the time.
I think I basically, so the story I remember is basically somebody saying they met a TSM fan who also played PUBG, but who didn't know that TSM had a PUBG team. You know, so that's like just as a story to kind of show that there's so many people that just never made the jump to PUBG Esports and never really got it.
I have a similar story, maybe they're intertwined, but back when I was on Lazarus for NPL, we were all hitting the gym as a team, and I just met some random guy doing cardio. We got into some conversation, you know, the what do you do conversations. I game, blah blah blah. I play PUBG professionally, and he's like, PUBG? No way! I play that every night, like 6 hours a night. And I was like, yeah, we play for the National Pro League, the NPL over here. That's literally right around the corner.
Yeah.
He's like, really? They do esports? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, man, you should come check it out. Like,
yeah. You can buy like, one of the bats,
Jesus.
bro, to support us.
No, not the fucking bats.
Not the bats, man. Yeah.
That was the darkest of times.
I will never forget the Ghost CEO saying, to celebrate the end of NPL, I'm giving away our entire NPL bat revenue to somebody who likes and retweets. $116 or some shit. It's like, yeah.
It was so bad.
Oh, yeah.
PUBG dropped the fucking ball there again. But...
Yeah. Well, this year we got a JS9 for PGC, so that was pretty epic. And if you got your pick'ems right, you could buy a Jammer Pack skin. So that was pretty cool.
I wasn't too in depth with looking at all of it, but based on the sales, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. It is what it is. But like you said, it could be a really good bridge, and who knows? Who are we to also? That was the sort of point I was trying to make earlier. Just because we like FPP and we like the esport to be as competitive as it can be, and we think that's the best esport, that doesn't mean that that's what people watch. Like, people watch fucking Fortnite influencers play public lobbies in kill races way more than they watch fucking PUBG Esports. So maybe we're just wrong, you know? Maybe the casual crowd is just gonna enjoy an esports that's TPP. And we're just fucking the boomers in the corner saying, back in my day.
I definitely am a boomer in the corner saying that. But on the flip side, maybe there's different streamers in Korea and China, I'm sure there are, that are huge in like the TPP perspective. But in terms of the Western scene, I don't know any big like TPP influencers or anything that could help bridge that gap that could get a lot of the casuals interested in sort of that scene. So that'll just kind of circle back to that again.
Yeah. I think they tried to do that with Wacky Jacky. They had him at a PGS2 or a PGC or something.
Yeah.
They had him on the cast for a game or something. They tried to sort of, you know, get the more casual people interested that way. They've tried a lot of different things, but
their biggest success was like back in the day, obviously bringing in like, obviously it would cost an arm and probably a couple legs at this point, but like people like Shroud and Doctor Disrespect and having their skins and then having them come out to the events was, I think, a big push for casuals to garner some interest for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's nobody that big in the scene anymore, anyways. You know, like I said, I mean, as big as Wacky Jackie is, he's minuscule compared to those type of guys. So
for sure, it's just like you said, even if you pay these guys to try and bridge the gap, there's a gap there, and that gap is gonna make it hard for those guys to sell it to their viewers as well, because they're like, what the fuck is the recoil in this game? Like, what's going on? Like, how does that guy kill you there? I don't understand anything that's happening. How the fuck are you getting panzerfausted? Like, there's a lot of things that can frustrate them and will frustrate them, and they won't understand.
No, I don't think PUBG is very streamer friendly these days. No. Compared to other games, the pacing and then some of the awful ways that you can exit a game real quick.
Also, just like, bro, like, you play any game with a good ranked system, a good ranking system, and how much it hooks you in to try and get to diamond, try and get to plat, whatever, get master, you know? And then PUBG's like, I just fucking died to a cheater and lost 40 minutes. I won a game with 13 kills, and now I died in 15th. Back to square one. And or it's like,
it's even worse on the West, because like, say if you're on the West Coast of the United States, you want to play ranked, you're playing on insane ping.
Yeah.
And other than that, you're just sitting there smashing your head against the wall in pubs for, if you want to stream 6 to 8 hours, you know?
Yeah, I mean, for you guys, it's even worse. Like, I complain, but for you guys, it's even worse. Like, EU is probably one of the best regions to play public still.
Yeah.
Our problems are small compared to yours, but yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it's tough, but we're still here. We still love it.
Yep.
Stuck with it for a little bit longer.
At least another year.
At least another year. Until this TPP. I'm excited. Okay, listen. This sounds weird, but I'm excited to see who actually quits if the game goes TPP. Are you quitting, or are you saying, fuck it, bro, it's still PUBG?
I probably won't quit. I'll probably still be involved in some aspect, no matter what. Like, I've dedicated so much of my life to at least the competitive scene, and even though a wheel or two might fall off, I think I'm with it until all the wheels fall off. You know what I'm saying? So I may talk a big game and talk shit, but I'm too involved in PUBG to not be involved in PUBG anymore.
Yeah, I feel that. It's kind of, it becomes your life at some point, right? It kind of is.
Absolutely.
I had this sort of revelation like a few days ago where I was like, if I was to stop doing PUBG and like stop playing, stop talking about it, whatever I'm gonna do this year, I'm not so sure yet. There's a fucking massive gap in what I'm doing every day. And there's also just like 7 years of my life that 90% of my life was PUBG.
Yeah.
That's a big fucking commitment. Like, I haven't had a relationship nearly this long and nearly this invested with anyone, you know, like,
yeah.
Like, it's kind of crazy. And I think that's why it's also, like I said at the start, I don't want to give this become a negative yap session, but obviously we have a lot of like issues and like, we want things to be better and we want things to improve because we fucking care, right? Like, it's not that we just hate the game and that's why we're shitting on the esports skins or the format or whatever.
No, it's exactly the opposite. It's how much we love this space, everybody involved with it, and the game that makes it so frustrating.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens between the recording and when this comes out, with the roster royale being in like great effect. I'm really like, there's a question. Do you actually think that besides Soniqs, any of the GPTs will change?
I have to hope Cerberus changes.
I heard you say this, and I don't think it's realistic. I don't think PUBG goes, they're gonna suck as a team now, we're kicking the org. I feel like
but
look at Genji the last 3 years. Like, when the GPT things started, they didn't even have a team in PUBG, and then they got
Yeah.
GPT and made a team.
I think it depends on the brand. I'm not too familiar with like how it works in APAC in terms of our players or our fans in love with Cerberus the brand, like Korean fans are with Gen G, right? Like Gen G is like gods.
Huge.
Like the brand is, oh my god,
But
it's Gen
isn't
G.
T1 literally up there as well?
They're definitely up there, but the problem is they haven't had a big history in PUBG at least, to where Gen G has both. Like, right, the Gen G organization is, you know, all praised, and then they've had great results in the past. A lot of big players. Cerberus, I have no idea. I don't know how they're viewed in APAC. I don't know, you know, if fans cling to that brand or if they're clinging to the players.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. I know that the org is, in comparison, rather small, to like a Gen G or whatever. So I'm not quite sure. They might be like a new Happy in China, kind of, where they have an awesome PUBG team, but not that much else. They have a League team, I know, but yeah, APAC's also super different. APAC's super tons of views, but not that much revenue, and also super passionate people and passionate fans.
Yeah.
Where I feel like EU and Americas is a little bit more relaxed and less emotional in some sense sometimes. So because I've heard a lot of stories of like fans like abusing the team basically on social media when they do really badly, and the other way around as well, where some players lose their shit at the fans and stuff. So,
well, yeah, you know, I mean, Soniqs get a lot of shit online. To be fair, you never know; they can be comparable.
Bro, like the NA chats when there's an NA event, it's literally half of it is Soniqs are the best thing that's ever happened to this planet. The other half is like, fuck Soniqs, or maybe like a third or something is like, fuck Soniqs, I hate them. Like the amount of like LG and Falcons hate when they were kind of doing better than Soniqs in the region was nuts. Like
LG rats, Falcons
LG rats, bro. The fucking people made so many hits at like Rat Start, you know, and fucking
yeah,
bro. There was so many. I think it was when they were LG. There was like literally days where people would just come up with funny shit to flame the LG guys constantly. Like, I don't know, fucking Kickstarters, or like LG are the kind of guys that hold the door open for you when you're still 10 meters away. Or so like, like some people came up with really funny ways, but it was literally just fucking trying to shit on them. It was like, it was so odd, but it
was
happens.
Entertaining for sure. That's the best thing to do in between games, is just you die early or whatever it might be, and you just like, all right, let's go see what happens with this chat. Like, it's definitely entertaining.
It's also, it happens every time there's a lot of fans. Every time that one team has a lot of fans, some people in chat take offense with like the fans and start hating. And that's how it goes every time.
They just want to go against the grain.
Yeah.
Like, start some shit.
And then there's obviously annoying fans too, right? There's people that will just defend everything Soniqs ever does to their death and tell everybody else that they're stupid.
Yeah, there's both sides of this coin. It's the diehards and then the results based. Oh, Soniqs did good. H1's the IGL goat. Put him on a podium somewhere, and then they do bad. H1's always been dog shit. We got to get rid of him. Like,
yeah, that's like the worst thing. Is like the double-faced people. I remember I think it was like I was talking with James and he was like telling me about some of the people that literally, or it was EB or something. Some of his viewers who like come into his chat and they say, "Oh, what's up, man? You're the best." Blah blah blah. And then he sees them in fucking PEL chat when they die early. Just be like, "Oh, this guy's fucking washed. What the fuck? Lol quid. Team lobby. What the fuck?" You know? And he's like, "What is going on, bro?" Like,
yeah, no, those are always the worst. I've had, especially Chinese fans. I've had Chinese fans DM me like, "You racist white pig. I want you to die in your sleep." And then like, I'll get in an event and they'll be like, "Bro, you're the best. Like, keep up the good work." Like, it's unbelievable. Literally the same person, like 6 months apart. It's ridiculous.
When TikTok, what did Tik say? He said they called you a god of war on Twitter or some shit.
Yeah, like the Ares of Twitter or some shit.
Yeah, it was funny as fuck.
When we got second and they were shit talking me like, "You're never gonna win anything." Like, they go hard. I gotta respect the passion behind it.
Bro, some of the auto translates on tweets, like there was Bro, there was one at Nations Cup. It was so crazy. What was it? Well, there was a situation. It had something to do with Korea and China and you. I think it was basically a Chinese fan saying that Korea fed USA points or whatever. And he was basically saying, oh, there's still so many US army bases in Korea. So all these mothers of these players are getting fucked by our US soldiers. And that's why their sons are too scared to fight the US players. And I was like, what the fuck happened? Like, how did you come to this conclusion? Like, what is going on in your life?
That's a good connection. I respect that. He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Yeah, it's fucking some really wild fucking shit that goes on. Some people's like opinions. I don't know. Yeah, it's good times. I don't know. I guess we can mention the Tiamba 17 thing. Okay.
Sure.
I disagree with your take. You said like you don't even care if they get punished or something, or it doesn't even need to get punished. I mega disagree. Like,
yeah, a lot of people do.
I know that some form of this is kind of common, and I hate it. Like, even just coaches sitting next to each other saying, oh, you going over this game? And then telling their players, okay, we're going Zarki or whatever. I think that's fucked. I think that
happens. Every tournament.
Every tournament shouldn't be happening. Fucking sucks. But then to specifically, like, not just to improve both, if you're improving both of your team's games, that's one thing, but it's still unfair because you're hurting 14 other teams. But to do this like, literally, like, bro, like 17 leaving Pachinki is the craziest, like, you know, that doesn't happen.
That definitely makes it crazier.
Like, right. That's not saying you can have our fucking Zaki all drop. That's like, yeah, I don't know. And the blatant, like the way they did it so blatantly as well. If Tianba would have just waited a bit and jumped when they saw that Pachinki was free, right? Nobody could have said a thing. But they jump instantly, they go there, and on their fucking POV stream, they say, if we actually qualify, we have to give them something tonight. And it's like, bro, like, you literally do not care.
No,
like,
that is,
like,
that's rough.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I think it's not okay.
At the same time, it's like, I understand why people think it should be punished, and it is teaming, because I mean it is teaming.
It is teaming, period.
But what's the line that you can draw? Like, is it full swapping spots? Is it just talking about going to different spots? Are you making sure you're not hot dropping each other? Like,
I think I have a very clear line, and the line is if you coordinate outside of the game without anyone else knowing. That's not okay.
Well, so that involves already do that every event. Though.
Exactly, and I think it's fucked. I think also that the way you combat it is whenever you see the plane path, the coaches can't talk to their players anymore. Done. 99% of that goes out of the window.
I would disagree because I think there's still a percentage to where like you can walk past players at LAN, you can walk past booths. You go, that's a bad plane path. You guys going Zarki?
Yeah, and then you get the fucking Nations Cup thing, no? You can literally get somebody looking at someone's screen with a plane path and them going like, what the fuck are you looking at? And
okay. Yeah. That one is ridiculous because that one's a meme.
Okay.
That is literally a meme.
Okay, tell me your POV of it.
I don't know if this is public at all in any capacity or who's talked about what.
It's public now.
I guess so. So at Nations Cup, obviously played for Team USA. We were next to Team Norway, which they do phase drops, which is pretty common for pretty frequent what they do. It's very consistent on Miramar, right? They go cruise. They don't go cruise. They're going resort, right? If you play against phase, if you watch phase, they always do the same shit. We had a really bad plane, one plane. We go Leo, so it's a south plane. Super dog shit for them to get a cruise. So Shrimsy goes over to Jean's booth, and he pulls the map up, or whatever, and he goes, "You guys all dropping or what?" Or that's a bad plane for you, some shit like that, you know, like that context of like that plane's awful for you guys. You guys are all dropping, and then Jean's through like a hissy fit. It's like, oh, they looked at my plane path, and my mark, and I want the game to be reset. And this whole bullshit, and it's like some of the most common things that players do all the time at LAN. Like you walk by somebody's PC, you say some shit, you're like, oh, that fucking plane's bad for you, have fun, I'll drop in, or haha, you can't fucking reach South George, enjoy West Millie, loser, or whatever the fuck. You just talk shit, and for whatever reason, James is like, I'm upset about this, I don't like this, I want the game reset so they can't see my plane path, and it became a whole thing in person, at least. But
yeah, so I completely get like your angle, and I get you saying like this is pretty common and it happens. I think there's a difference between saying this plane path sucks for you and being like, oh, where are you going? Like.
Well, yeah, those are different things.
Also, sure. Seeing somebody's markers and shit is a bit different than just saying, haha, you're not fucking going South George this game, whatever. It's a problem that people walk past each other's booths when the plane path is already showing. That's bad.
Well, that's the other side of the coin, right? Is like, how can they make a complaint to where when we're sitting down before them, because I'm not a guy that leaves my booth often, I sit there at my computer. We're the first row, so every team has to walk past us. Yeah. Every team can see our maps.
Yeah.
So unless we're fucking, covering our monitors, never showing our maps, never looking at anything before anybody else.
Yeah.
Everybody can see the exact same info at all times.
Yeah. That's not good.
So is it just favoritism to what booth you're in? Like.
Exactly. So that's why this whole system of everybody's in the lobby forever and the plane path's shown already, and it only starts really like 5 minutes later is not great in that aspect, right? It's good for the broadcast because you can load people in and whatever. And if somebody's not loaded in, you have a lot of time to get them in and stuff. For the whole teaming thing, it's a problem. Because the whole thing wouldn't exist if you were just loading into the lobby when everybody was seated and coaches were muted, right? Like then it just wouldn't happen.
Yeah, but the time constraints come into that so heavily, right? Because every player's like, oh, I need a smoke break. Oh, I need to go use the bathroom. Yeah. Oh, I need to do this, that. And then that takes fucking 7 minutes. And then you load in. Oh, this guy's fucking, he didn't load in. His PC turned off. Now we got extra 5 minutes. We got to figure it out.
Yeah. It's a problem for sure. Balance. It's not easy to solve. I still think you're cutting out a lot of the crap if it's just because in my experience, well, I don't think I've ever done it. I think I've at Nations Cup. There was a coach who asked me like about a drop spot, and I was like, "That's kind of weird. Like, I don't want to talk to you about this." And then he said like, "Oh, we do it every event. Like, it's normal." And then I think I asked him once as well or something afterwards. I haven't regularly done it. But from my POV, it was more coaches talking to each other. But I guess if players are walking around and shit, then cutting out the coaches doesn't fix the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely both, without a doubt.
Yeah. I don't think it's okay. I think, for me, it felt really weird. Because it's like, listen, I'm talking to one team, and I'm giving both of us an advantage. And that doesn't sit right with me.
That's fair. And if they draw the line in the sand there, then that's awesome. But right now, there's no line.
Yeah, there is no line
at all. And that's the thing. I think people would respect whatever line there would be, but there's nothing to go off of right now. It's just, hey, don't team.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, and then it's like that the punishment is up to disqualification, and the punishment they got is 2 points. So it's like,
yeah. And like you're saying, if it was incredibly blatant to that point, where a team that would never leave is swapping with them. It was
very blatant. They were not only giving up their spot, they were also landing in the Tianba spot, right? They were also not even just giving up their spot, but also playing to hide the fact that they were to a team that didn't give themselves any advantage, right? This is completely different than T1 saying, we don't want 4 AM in Yars, we're hot dropping them every game. Completely different fucking story. You're helping a team for none of your benefit, right?
Yeah,
just because they're your friends and you hate TSM and you love Tianba, right? Like, that's like, every part of it is super fucked. Even teaming to help yourself is less fucked than teaming to just randomly help another team. right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Because there was this conversation, I don't know if you remember, where in some sort of APAC qualifier, was it Team Bliss still? Was it, who the fuck was it back then? They needed the team in third to overtake the team in second, so they could qualify to the global. So they found them on the map, and it was Cow and some other guys. Yeah. They found them on the map, and they fed to them. They fed them points intentionally. But they argued, yeah, we're feeding them, but it's to our own benefit. It's how we qualify to the global. We can't qualify if they don't pass them.
Yeah, at least there's an argument to be made there.
There's an argument there, right? There's a tricky argument there. In this case, there is no argument for any sort of argument whatsoever.
17's argument is, those are our boys. Like,
yeah.
100%. That's where it ends.
Yeah.
Just,
no. Like, those are our boys. Fuck anybody else. We want them to be happy. So that makes it a very different conversation, I think. Because people will instantly pull up and say, yeah, but what about T1 hot up in 4 a.m.? But it's just a strawman argument. Like it has nothing to do with this topic, in my opinion.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody make that argument, because that is
Chinese teams have, or Chinese fans have on Twitter. That's the only thing I saw.
I'm so disconnected from that. That is an insane argument to make. That is completely irrelevant in every capacity.
But it does have a bit of a point, because the rules are incredibly unclear, right? And the rule book is incredibly vague, and I think it is incredibly vague so that the admins can make the decisions they want to make, which is not an inherently bad thing. Because a lot of fucking events you don't know that are gonna occur, and you need the admins to have like a bit of leeway to decide. But it feels like most of the times the admins have no intention or no capabilities to actually decide. Like, I saw the response that said, we saw the teaming allegations, but we don't enforce drop spots, so we conclude there is no teaming. And it's like, did you see the thing? Like, did you watch the game? Like, what? I don't know. It's tricky.
That's why it's tricky. Like, if they directly gave them points, it makes it obviously way more clear, right? But my thing is, if it's a drop spot swap, obviously they colluded to get this team a better chance to play a normal game and to not get griefed, but they didn't directly give them points to qualify. So it just, again, it's just blurred lines that you need a definite one for me to want to stay in solid ground somewhere.
It's also it's a really weird subject. It kind of borders the subject of the kill feed tracking conversation, where it's like, you think something is bad, but you can't enforce the rule to deny it. Like, that was the reasoning originally to have kill feed trackers in Europe, is like, we can't control if you do this, so we might as well let everyone do it. And that's kind of what you're saying to the teaming thing, is like, yeah, you can understand my reasoning why I think it's bad, but it's happening all over the place, so what are you gonna do? So it's a tricky subject in that sense, because if you can't enforce it, does having a rule against it even make sense or matter? Or is the rule only going to punish the teams with integrity and help the teams without?
Yeah, how do you make a rule for drop spots specifically, right? Like,
you don't. You make the rule that colluding out of the game to give yourself or someone else an advantage in the game is teaming and will be punished. That's the rule you have to make, right? But like you said, that's a hard rule to enforce in practice.
Yeah, because say in theory, teams have made deals before for drop spots, right? Like, say we're hot dropping on multiple maps.
Yeah.
I'm hot dropping you in Shelter, and I'm hot dropping you in Chuma.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. We'll give you Chuma, you give us Shelter, we'll call it a day.
Yeah.
They just colluded right there to give drop spots. Is that teaming?
Yeah. See, it gets muddy waters real quick. 100%. Like, that's a really good example. Is that colluded? Is that collusion? I don't know. Is it? Not really, but definition-wise, it kind of is.
Yeah, and that happens anywhere from online to at LAN. So you talked out of game in person to figure out a drop spot.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a hard subject for sure. I just think it's weird. I just don't think it should be a thing, but it becomes it's also the whole argument, right? That is the same kill feed tracking argument. It's like, we can't enforce it, so we just allow it, is a super slippery slope. By that logic, you can allow whatever you want. Fucking anti-cheat sucks. Like, might as well stop trying, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. Like I said, I wouldn't be opposed if they made something definite, but as of right now, it's the fucking wild, wild west for things that are drop related.
Yeah.
So that's why I wasn't super upset like everybody else I was.
I mean, even feeding other people kills was not punished. And that's like as close to teaming as you can almost get, right? The only way you can team more is playing as an 8-man squad, because that benefits both of you, right?
Yeah.
That's the only way you can team clearer than feeding the other team 4 points.
Yeah.
So that's not punished, then what is and what isn't? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're just afraid to punish anybody in general. Just bad publicity in a lot of senses. So
I was surprised they punished them at all. When I saw that first statement, I thought they were gonna say, "That's it. We're not saying anything anymore. People are gonna forget about it. It's fine."
Yeah, I think it's honestly because it was Tiamba, and so many teams at the event hated Tiamba. Honestly, they just every team, because Tiamba is just a hard-headed, we're gonna keep hot dropping and fighting you team. So not like out of game situations, their personalities, I have no idea, because they're Chinese, so I have no idea what they're actually like. But like Falcons, KDF, us, like there were so many teams that they were just constantly in brawls with, that everybody's just constantly complaining like, these guys are fucking teamers, like you got to do something.
Yeah.
So I think it's just that mixed with the people who morally just disagreed with their actions. There's just too many voices for them to try and block them all out.
Maybe, yeah. I really thought they would, because it's 17, right? It is China. It is global partners. They can do no wrong. That was my expectations. So
that was mine as well.
Yeah, I was surprised, and I wasn't unhappy with the punishment. They could have been punished more, but like I was happy that there was a punishment, I guess. Like, I don't know. It's hard to say.
I mean, when it first happened, I told my team just straight up, like, don't hold your breath, ignore all that shit, just focus on the next game, because nothing's gonna happen. So
yeah, and there's
everybody was surprised for sure.
There's nothing you can do. Like, you just gotta sit there and hope the admins do something, but there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, I think it pissed off a lot of people even more that it was only 2 points. Like, people were just walking around like, this is
but honestly,
unreal.
I think that's a bad mentality. That's just the I want to complain mentality. Because you're sitting there and you're saying,
there's a lot of that.
They need to get punished. Fucking PUBG, they'll never fucking do anything. And then they get punished and you're like, oh, that's even worse because it wasn't enough. It's like, no, it's not worse. It's fucking better, you know? Like, it's better than not being punished.
Yeah, that's fair.
And to be fair, if it would have been literally like a 5-point deduction or something, 17 wouldn't have made it, right? Through that stage. They wouldn't have made it into the circuit finals, and they wouldn't have made it into finals. So, like, it could have had a big impact. It was really close to having a big impact. And
or if a lot of teams just actually wanted to grief people.
Yeah.
17 should have been out of those games.
Yeah.
But
they should have been. That's a really interesting thing as well, is not a lot of teams actually take it into their own hands. There was a lot of situations like that where TWIS was kind of griefing them a little bit, but they were a little bit hesitant, and like a lot of other teams in the lobby were like, Yeah. And there was other teams in the lobby too. Like, a lot of teams were struggling to make it into the last circuit finals and could have been griefed out of them, but
yeah. I mean, even like Soniqs, for example, like, they feel like they have a huge target on their back, and they were constantly fucking sweating bullets. We're gonna get grief. This team's gonna into us. This is gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
You could hear it in their comms every game. Not even close to anything.
No,
nothing at all. Nobody
really did much.
We got to int, or we're gonna camp them, or nothing at all.
No,
they're just sweating their dicks off.
They
look back on those games like, damn, we're trolling our own mentals here.
Yeah, and it's like, I think it's also a thing where from the outside you expect it to happen way more, and you want it to happen way more, and most people, they just want to play their game. Like, I don't know if it's maybe there's probably some part there that's kind of a mistake where teams just actually skip opportunities that they have. But there's also a lot of we just want to play good PUBG. Like, this is the best practice we're going to get for the finals. This is the only good lobby we're playing in the last fucking 4 months or whatever. Like, we just want to play our own game. And I think that's fair enough most of the time.
Yeah, I see both sides for sure.
Yeah. It's just like, when you're watching the stream and like everybody's like, why the fuck aren't they doing anything? It seems like they really should be, but I think there's a lot of people really shy away from it.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's people don't want to make enemies. People are like, everybody's gonna be petty.
The
if we
karma.
do this,
Soniqs
are a GPT. They're gonna int us all next year. Like, they get terrified. To be honest,
it doesn't make sense to me, to be honest. I think. But then again, it doesn't have to make sense to you. If the other team actually thinks that way and they actually int you all next year, then sure. Especially if you're in a region like Americas, right? I think when the GPT system came out, I was talking to like TWIS Trimsy, and they were basically saying like, if we want to int SDK all year, we can. Because we're fucking going to every event anyways. And we just have to be top 4 in Americas. Like, there is a power position there.
There definitely is for regionally. I mean, they had instances to where they were like, we don't even care too much. I mean, they care, but like, we don't want to do Purdykurty for regionals anymore.
Yeah.
We want to start practicing other spots. So they'd be like, all right, let's do Junkyard. Show up the Junkyard team's like, okay, we'll leave
somewhere else. Sure.
And then like the meanest team is like, can we still keep Jungle over here? Even though you guys are Junkyard, be like, that's ours now. Then they go to an event, they come back, be like, we're gonna come back to Purdykurty.
Yeah.
Like,
see you later.
you gotta go.
Yeah.
And teams will put up a little fight here and there, but you're not winning that battle.
No.
You gotta go. It's an awful situation to be in if you're those teams.
Navi did it in Europe. Made a full new roster and took 2 spots away from Foot and 1 from Ascend. And nobody could do anything. Like, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
That's it.
The fuck are you gonna do?
Let us interest shit and be like, it's our spot, or it's not your year, Chief. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah. There was an interesting thing as well in one of the Rondo games where 17 was qualified in one of the stages. I don't remember which stage exactly, but there was T1 was hunting 4 a.m. like every single game, right? And then 17 suddenly all dropped to hot drop T1. And I was like, that's weird. Like, you're already qualified. You're not fighting for your test track, but you're hot dropping T1. So I was like, it felt like another bit of like retaliation there, but I don't fucking know.
Yeah, they're probably just trying to have some fun and brawl, because I think at that point T1 was also qualled as well, because they qualled like first week. So it's probably just like an ego thing of fuck it.
Probably, yeah. Just show them what's up.
Yeah.
Okay, half an hour ago I said we have no topics anymore.
Here we are.
It's the way of the PUBG podcast, but I'm gonna try and cut it here.
Sounds good.
That was fucking nice. That was good. Yeah, for the people listening or watching, we had a deal. I've been asking you to come on the podcast for a while, and you said you have to deserve it. So what did I say? What did I say? Top 3, and you have to come on.
Yeah, top 3.
I was gonna say top 5, but I was pretty fucking confident you guys were gonna be top 5, so top 3 was a spicy one.
To clarify, it wasn't that you didn't deserve it.
Oh
it
yeah,
was that I haven't earned it.
Yeah, I think that's capping, but sure. I was also like thinking about it. I don't know when, but I was like looking at your results, and I was like, it was like right after you guys have had a terrible year, and I was like, yeah, like TSM, Purdykurty, what, like kind of mid, like SDK, whatever. Haven't really done anything, and then I like scrolled through the Wikipedia, and I was like, it was like 2nd at PGC this year, like 4th at PGC this year. Like, you have a lot of achievements. It's just
I've been around the block.
You've been around the block, and you've been fucking performing at big events. It's just there was a bit of a gap there.
Yeah, a little bit.
For a bit. Feels nice to come back, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Planning a comeback or what?
Yeah, I'm on the new Liquid roster. They sent me a hoodie for that reason, obviously.
All right.
I'm IGLing.
Congratulations.
I've been playing a lot of intense Battle Royale to get ready for the TPP season. I'm pretty good at Panzerfausts. Get me in.
Yeah.
Sad. Feels bad to be washed.
Yeah, that's fair. Hopefully I don't feel that anytime soon.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know what I'm doing this year. I don't know yet. Maybe get some casting. Maybe fucking, I don't know. If PUBG, if you want me, I'll fucking draw lines on the map for you. I'll get coffee. I'll fucking, I don't know.
Just get coffee. This is the plea. Please hire me.
Yeah, I'll be your water boy, no problem.
That's fair.
Yeah. Okay, gotta cut it. No more yapping. Thanks for coming on.
Sir.
Thanks for spending the time. That was really nice. And yeah, we'll see more of you in the next year. It's not the next year anymore. It's this year and the coming year.
Well, thanks for having me. My pleasure to be a part of the Certified Yappers Club.
Yes. This was a big yap. 2 hours, almost.
It's a good time.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Hopefully we'll see you around.
Yeah. That was the episode. Shit. That was the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. And if you liked it, make sure to do all the YouTube stuff, subscribe and like the video. And if you want to support, there's always my credit code. Helps me out a ton. I'll put a link in the description. And of course, if you're interested in what Purdy had to say on his own YouTube channel, there's a link for his Brutally Honest video as well. See you guys next time.